There it goes, a recording. Let me flip the camera. Okay, now where we got to yesterday, I figured something out. So what's I don't pretend that I really got a handle on this. I'm just trying to go through it as best I can, and I see that it's missing instructions in some places that are important. So we got to page Kuf Mem Dal, and going through these things. So we see that he gave us a method of counting to 11 in the part where it began to Yom Hashem al Moshe Kapta Chosamin. So he goes to that, and he goes to different ways, and we can see that 11 is in the midst of all of those words over there. There's a lot of side notes over here, which I'm not sure exactly where they come from or what they do. I think we're at the place right now in Kuf Mem Dal, which is this Tanur Rabbanan Pitum. So the Gematria Pitum actually comes out to be, I think it's 135. It comes out to be 3 times 45. Now, I'll just take that, just have that. He says that's a kavanah. And you say we're talking rabbanan pitum. So pitum is in some way bringing these mas. So we know that the ma. I'm just trying to think for myself that the ma represents the middle line, represents vav. What else? I'm not sure. Then he says Ketoret. So he says Ketoret is we have to do this operation. The operation is to switch the kuf by atbash into a dalet, and it gives you the gematria of taryot. So then you get pitum akatoris gematria zayin margon. And I told you that I'd like to know more about the margon. I don't see that the gematrias are working out the same way, and there may be an instruction in there that we're missing to show you how to use the margon and make it come out to the same gematria as pitum akatoris. Then he says ketzad. So how is that? He says shlosh meos. So he says that this is a number. I'm not sure why this word shlosh meos. And then he shows you a way that shlosh meos, this is a manifestation of 300. Now, which comes first, the manifestation or the shlosh meos? So the words are shlosh meos. So the 300 is, so you're supposed to have in mind here this Miloi Elokem. So he says this is the Shlosh Meos, and he says of what? The Mochin de Katus Olam Shin. So now we're talking about Mochin de Katus, the Shishin Miloi Shin, and then also the Miloi of the Shin, which is a further devolution of the power of the Shin, whatever that, which he says is this 300, which is this Elokem, which I'm assuming the Elokem in other places has always been Nismatus or Din. So this must be a squeezing down of some sort, and it comes to a number. It's referred to this number, which I guess is the bottom line, and then which is numbers refer. I said why numbers refer to multiples. I'm just trying to darshan this out. Then he said Vishishim, then you get the 6, which is the middle of the ship. Like I say, it's a further devolution. It's being this mind more, if I'm right. And then he says Ushmona Monim. So what Mispar Dalad Mochi? So what is Shmona Monim? So Shmona Monim is really the count of, it goes like this, another count. Now somewhere in here he says that everything's going by counting. So Pitum, that line that did Pitum, I see, is a mushroom counting in some way. So he's a Mispar Dalad Mochi, the godless, the Gimel the Bushehin, so that's 7. Shehim Nai, the Ema, the Hakolel, and add the Kolel, which is another rule of how they understand this, that you can add a kolel in. Oyibah, that was in it. Nimsiki iker klalos hakol enu rak mispar. That's where he says it. He says the whole thing is only, understand that the thing here, I'll just read it again, I'm not sure. My take is that the bottom line is that Pitum HaKetoris has to do with working numbers in some way, and these are the numbers are the 368. So in other words, you break down the whole thing, and you're going to come to that number. It's a Nimsiki Iker Klalos Hakol Eno Rak Mispar is just numbers. And then he comes back, Shlosh Meos, right? And then he shows it to us again, which is the Elokim, which is his Matus. And then the Shin, which Gematria Shin. And then Shishi, which is once again, he repeats himself. He says the Milo of the Shin. and he shows it to us in the parenthesis. And then he goes v'chamisha and 5. That's like the days of the year. Daled mochin the godliv kolo once again. So he says, where did he get to 5? So he got like that. This is all the cookbook. What he says. Gemini Yemosa Chomo. So as the world turns, Yordim Mochin the Eva Lamata the Slavic Bazon. So let me just let my mind think about this for a minute. He says, Communion Yemosa Chomo. Now, the reason why I said as the world turns is because this Shefa that we're talking about, this 365, has to do with the details of the year. Because in those days, hours, minutes, whatever it is, Yordin Mochin the even the Mata the his lavish bezun. That's all happening. So he says, Mana Bakal Yom. It's going to be a Mana is a certain amount called a Mana every day. So he says, Machsisa Baboka Machsisa Ve'erev, half of it in the morning and half of it in the morning and half of it Bein Arbayim. Or he says in the nighttime. There's the 9. V'shlosha Monim Yisera, and then there's another 3 besides that. So another 3. Now Mona is Lashon counting 2. Another count of another 3. Neged Levusha HaMochin, which corresponds to the Mochin of Shehem the 9 the Ima. Shehem Kasa Kavanah. Now this is the second time we've seen this because he's repeating himself as he had it on the previous page. But I can't help but think like he says that he says the Levushia Mochin are these, he says Levushia Mochin are these names, which are the Miluyim of Akia, the 3 Miluyim of Akia. So he's telling me something about it, but I just can't put it together with anything. And now he shows the name. So he says Aleph K, Yud K, like that. He shows it the 3 different ways that it can be spelled. Now sometimes he goes from this and he starts counting them. It could be that too. So he said Shemehem Naasim Hamchasa. So that we had this yesterday. So from this is making how you put it together in the Machta. That's where it was. I think we actually went this yesterday. I see I mismarked it slightly. And so we'll get back to that in a minute because I want to get the Shvolis near because I figured it out. So he says, and he takes that on Yom Kippurim. And he says a fact about Yom Kippur, which I don't remember. He said because in Yom Kippur, the Nuk Ola Alehem, it goes up to the level of what? To them, the Yordim, the low Yordim, and the Einam Yordim. The Machazrim, the Marteshes, and you bring it back to the grinder, Yom Kippurim, Kedei the Kaim Mitzvahs, Dakim, and the Dakim, in order to be able to do that, then you really got something nice. Then he says, Va'achad, he says, is the Makif, and the Aser, is the Benimian, so in other words, all of these trapped oros, which are in the Klipa Noga. And then he says the word Achad Abu Simonim, Shinishavo Mezayim Malachim, and where did the Simonim come from? They're being refined out of the Zayim Malachim Shemesu. Hoyubo were in it, but Klipas Noga, they were inside of the Klipas Noga. The call Olam Abiyah, so he says they're in all of Abiyah, in each one of the other, the Tzridim Beaver, and we have to refine them out. Ve'elohim, and these are so he says, and he wants to go over it, and he says it's good. It's to count them on your fingers. The first one is sorry. Sorry comes out to be the gematria of 300 again. What does it do? If you take this. So how the mechanism is, I don't understand, but he says this is the mechanism. If you take this, the halos kasser, the nitzutzim is to elevate the kasser of the nitzutzim, but from not just one of the hidden worlds, but through all of them, the deviyah. Then he goes to the next one, counted with your fingers. He says, and the siforim is gematria yud pam im mab. What does mab do? Mab is the elevator. Mab is the force that brings things up. Maybe it brings things out, pulls it out. Uh, so, so he says also at the very bottom, let me see if I can get this down. Those are the mobs. At the very bottom, he says, Gam Tziporim is Gematria Ekya Havaya Adni Shakai. So if I really understood the power of these names, I might be able to make an understanding. Ekya comes from the female side and Havaya, so this could be Ima, Zeranpin, Malchus, and then maybe Malchus is Adni, and then Shaka refers to Yisod. So I don't know exactly how that would work, but at any rate, that's them. That's also Gematria of Tziporin, and I think he wants to pair them, you know. He wants to pair them. Yeah, pair them. It's male. So Ekya is female. Havaya is male. Adni is female. Shakai is male. So that could work like that. Is that why he paired them like that? La'alos Yisod. And what does these names do? It walks up with Shakai, which is Yisod. La'alos Yisod. The Nitzutzi B'kol Noga the Bia, to bring it all up from all of the Noga of the Bia. Okay, so let's look a little bit more. Then he says, we're up at page Kaf Mem Vov now. And he says, so understanding what Kale Adli means, it's putting together the concept of Kale, which really, Kale isn't Kale, also the Miluim of Sav. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it could be something like that. Anyway, Kale, yeah, the Yud and the Nav, that's what I meant. It comes from there, goes to Adni. And what is it able to do? Adni is Malchus, La'alos, Malchus, the Tzutzim, Mekol, Nova, the Bia. Next, Bechelbana. What's about Chelbana? Gematria, Adon, Yachid. So Adon, we could put on Malchus. And Yachid, I guess he means to say Zerapin, because he says Shehed Zun. So I didn't know the word, never saw the word Yachid used like this. Oh, if we did, though. La'alos, and what does this do? It brings everything else. Kachbad Chagad Nahim, the Makif, it brings up that part of a halavoina has the ability to bring up all of the makifim, to bring them out. So he said, then he goes on, Omikol Nova Davia, etc. Mishlo Shavim Mishivim Mon. So now once back into counting again. So you have to count by Mikol Nova Davia. Okay, Mishlo Shavim Mishlo Shavim Mon. So he says after the word Shavim, so Zayin Tikuni Zun. Not sure what the Zayin Tikkun Yisrael is. Does he mean from Chesed down through Malchus of each one of them? Is that what he means? Leaves more 10 spheros and becomes a 70? I'm not sure. Then he says Moneh. So Moneh is a gematria. Makol is a gematria. Kale Adni, back to Kale Adni again, which goes to Malchus. And then he goes to Mor. So he says Mor is the number 240. So they have a little blurb on the side, he says. So what is it exactly? It's a gematria of 16 times 15. And also 4 times yak. He says, so he explains it further. He says, Shehem Abba Be'ima B'Yisrael Sabbat Avuna Mashpia Dalit Pamim Yud K Lazer Anpin. Kula Mashpia Lanok, and then all of them turn around and spread out into the nook. He's got a drawing of it. It works better. So he says, what is this? So it comes out to be ches pamim yak. So in other words, what came out of it as a drawing on the left side, you see at the top he has 4 yaks, and that refers to yasas. Then yasa is going to take those, and you can put those 4 into Zeranpin. The Zeranpin is going to take not just his 4, but I'm not sure if not just his 4, but also the 4 from Yisrael Sabbath Buna, and they're going to go into the Nook. This is part of the formula. How it works, don't know. But he says that's where it works. La'alos, and what does it have the ability to do? Be able to take the chesed and suits and become Noga the Bias, be able to do that. If you use this formula, you could do that. Now he says, Ksiya. Ksiya is the refuah of Elokim. So the power, once again, this is another kind of a din. This is another, I guess you're moving downwards. I don't know. Vod Gimel Pamim Kof Hey. So then add on to that another 3 times 25, which is 75. Shehem Gematrium Gimel Mochi. Each one of them somehow is a 25. The note, the Hem Kaf Hey Teva. So he says what you have over there in the Mochi, he says Shehem Gimel the 3 Mochi in the note were 25. How did you get that number? He says tables, which in the Pita Ketoret, I guess, is 25 words. I didn't count that out. He says that you can see that over there in the Zohar, I guess, in Parshas Kitiso. And then he says you take it like this: Kof Hey tables in Ketoret. Well, based upon Kof Hey the Birchos Kohanim, you have apparently 25 over there, and Kohanim. And another one, the Kavanahs ve'echad. So there's another. Here's 3. Echad the Birchos Kohanim, Echad the Kavanahs ve'echad the Amida. And all of this you put together, and Ba'alos Gavur the Nitzutzim Bekol Noga Dabi. Okay, let's see how we're doing. This is the famous one that I figured out this morning. I saw this morning, but Shivolas Nair. So the Gematria Shivolas Nair is 386. So he says if you take Ayik Becher, you're going to come out to the Gematria of Shalom. And then I said, well, Shalom 376 is not 386. So how do you get that? He says you add on to it the 10 letters. You're missing the instruction. We'll give you 386. You add on the 10 letters of Ben, and you have now the gematria of Shivolas Nair. So if you have that in Kavanah in mind, so what's the idea here? It says these are. I guess he means to say that Ben, which is Malchus, and Shalom must refer to Yisod, or Tiferes, he says. Tiferes, I guess, the ultimate balance, something like that. Shehem Yisod and Malchus, the Alos, Tiferes, the Nitzutzim, and what you're trying to do is bring out from this will bring out the Tiferes, the Nitzutzim, the Kol Nova Tabiyah. Okay, I guess we'll stop here, and we're on our way to getting through this. And thank you very much for learning with me today. Carlton.